This is our Grand Banks 36. It's a 1971. It's a woody, and it is for sale. I haven't been here in a month, so it's a little dirty. We get a lot of junk from the trees here. But it is in excellent shape. It is good to go. It is not a project boat. Although it's not perfect, there's always things that can be done. I have pretty much renovated the entire boat from front to back. The varnish is probably like a 95 out of 100. The paint's probably a 93 out of 100. It is a very pretty boat. It gets comments everywhere we go. This is a Grand Bank, so even though it's almost 50 years old, every piece of hardware on the boat still works. Alright, I just stepped on, and the boat is not rocking like a cork. It's a heavy boat. It's 25,000 pounds empty. It's probably 28 or 29,000 pounds right now with fuel and water. Get the key, we'll go inside. Okay, taking a little chance here because I haven't been inside in a long time, so I don't know how bad it's gonna look. Okay, it's the main cabin. It's been okay, new fridge, new gas stove cooktop. This is the cooktop part. Hasn't been used hardly at all. This is a microwave toaster. It's been used a lot. We use the toaster and we use the microwave. The stove we don't use very much, but I purchased it new. Well, I guess it's 10 years old now. Let's turn on some lights here. Okay, the stove is propane. The propane tank is upstairs under the seat. There is this little thing here. The Fireboy, I believe is the name of it. So when you want to light the stove, you turn on the electricity here. It's a 12-volt switch. And it sniffs for gas underneath the stove. And if it smells no gas, it goes ahead and opens a solenoid valve that is upstairs by the fuel tank. So the solenoid valve is open. I could light the stove now. We have entered several wood boat shows. Every one we've entered, we've won something. You can see the trophies. We're out at trophy space. The last 4 years at the Madisonville Wood Boat Show, I did not compete because I won 3 years in a row, and people were giving me dirty luck. So I didn't want to. I didn't want to lose any friends over a little trophy. Okay, V-berth. V-berth is near perfect. It needs nothing. Turn on 2 lights. These mattresses are original, but they're very comfortable, so we didn't change them when we renovated the boat. I did put in a wood ceiling in here. Wood ceiling in here. That is the control for the anchor windlass. This is the rope and chain locker. This is the air conditioner vent that cools the front cabin. This is the little head from up front. Does not have a shower, just a commode and a pretty little sink. Pretty wood ceiling. It's good to go. This is the front locker, and this is where the inverter sits. Let's see what else we got. Just storage. There's drawers. Sorry I moved the camera so fast. There's drawers under the V-berth. In the front of the V-berth, in this area up here, There's a stainless steel holding tank, and it is not currently hooked up. It's there, but I disconnected it and it's not hooked up. There's storage under these seats, under these steps, excuse me. Doing it with my foot, so it's a little awkward. The little steps pick up, and there's a door to the engine room right there. I've never used that. I don't know why anybody would want to use that. This is the 12. Oh crap. That was the lid falling. It scared the crap out of me. This is the 12 volt panel. Totally redone it. Engine controls, 12 volt panel. This is a breaker for the windlass. These are the 2 bilge pumps. This is a generator control panel. And these are main battery switches. On this side is the renovated 120 volt panel. We've got 2 meters for volts and amps on both sides. That's the voltage check. And this is the amperage check. Of course there's no amps because nothing's happening. And then all the breakers. And at the bottom is the control for shore power or generator power. There's storage. Grand Banks quality storage everywhere. There's big storage under the step coming into the cabin, and it goes way back. This is where I keep my tools. This is a little chest of drawers by the front door. The top opens, the front opens, so we keep chips and stuff here and bread, and the drawers are full of boat stuff. There's storage under the settee. These are all new cushions. Well, they're not new anymore. They're about 10 years old, but I paid for these. They're comfortable. There's another drawer. The air conditioner is underneath this corner. It blows air up this pipe into the main cabin. It blows a little bit of air into the bathroom. It was kind of stuffy, so I added a little vent there. And it blows air up into the V-berth. We have a very nice dining table. It's teak, it's handmade. Has a little flip thing in the middle for... I'm kind of stumbling around here because I'm holding the camera with one hand. So the silverware is in the middle. First class table. Basically it's just Grand Banks. Grand Banks made beautiful boats. This has all been refinished. Okay, let's step back into the back bedroom. I've replaced, well, in all 3 cabins, I pulled down the ceiling and replaced it with insulation above it. So all 3 ceilings, the big cabin up top, the V-berth in the front, and the bedroom back here, they all have insulation. Back here, wherever you see teak paneling, there's insulation behind that. I put a 1/2-inch spacers and put insulation. There's insulation behind this. There's insulation under this overhang. So this is good to go. We have like a twin size bed on this side, a single size bed on this side. We have the locker, and in this locker is the back air conditioner. I believe it's a 7,000 BTU. It cools this back cabin and throws a little air up front. There is storage under the step. And under here, this is the air conditioner pump and the strainer for this air conditioner that's back here. So this is the back bathroom. I just repainted it. It was getting kind of dirty. I just put a new mirror. We have a treatment plant. This is a pure sand, which makes the commode legal. I'm standing in the shower. Just pull the curtain around, and the floor drains to a pan, and I've just replaced the little pump that pumps the water overboard. This is a Tecma toilet. It is very nice. It flushes with fresh water out of the freshwater tank on board, which means it doesn't get all funky. It stays clean. It doesn't get funky. It's very nice. Okay, what else? This is where the 2 inches of air come back here to keep the bathroom pleasant. Wooden countertop. And I don't know if you noticed, but even though this boat is very old, the doors, every single door and cabinet in the boat works like it was brand new. There aren't many boats that can claim that. Alright, we'll go into the engine room. Okay, I'm gonna again try to do this with one hand. There's 3 hatches for the engine room. One that I use every day, but the other 2 can also come up if you need to spend a day in the engine room. So move the carpet, pick up the hatch, and here's the engine room. So this hatch and this hatch come up, and then this beam that supports them is just sitting here. It'll come up. There's another beam this way. It's just sitting here, so you can really open up this floor without having to get out a screwdriver or anything. It's just it all lifts off. Both of these tanks have fuel polishing system. Whenever the key to the engine is in the on position, this little pump sucks fuel from the bottom of the tank, runs it through these 2 filters, dumps it back in the top of the tank. I've never had a dirty fuel issue in the 13 years I've had the boat. I installed a clear glass fuel gauge. You can see the fuel in it. Because it's glass, I put a valve to keep it off most of the time. So you turn it off, and I put a little squeeze bulb here, and that vacates the fuel from the sight gauge, so the sight gauge is always crystal clear. You can read it to pretty much a 1/16 of an inch. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you can get some real accurate fuel consumption numbers. I never have. It's not a big deal for me. Got a hot water heater, the square box. It also heats from engine heat, so after you run your engine for a while, it will heat the hot water and gets it very hot. Got to be kind of careful, actually. Stainless steel exhaust muffler on both of the engines, and there's a fiberglass exhaust muffler for the gen set. Let's see. Both engines do leak a little bit, but they have a stainless steel pan under them, and it's not to the point where it's a problem. They just drip a little bit. There are 6 house batteries. They're golf cart, 6 golf cart batteries, or 3 pairs. They're like a month old. I just replaced them. So there's a pair there. This is the start battery. It starts both engines, and it starts the generator, and it's a little, and it works fine because the engine starts so fast that you don't need no big old honking battery. Up front of the engine is another pair of house batteries, and here's the other pair of house batteries. That's the freshwater pump. It's right there. Air conditioner pump and bilge pump
down here. It's always a little bit of water in the bilge. It's just, it's so hard to pump that last little bit out. This is the little charger for the start battery. And then this is the big cables for the house batteries. They go to the inverter, which is on the other side of that wall. This engine, starboard engine, has a 100 amp alternator, which charges the house batteries. The other engine has the original alternator, which charges the start battery. What else we need to look at? That's about it. I've replaced more than half of the bottom when I first bought the boat. It was in bad shape. The framing was fine, just the bottom planks. They're 1.25" mahogany. And since then, in the 12 years I've owned it, or 13 years I've owned it, I think I've replaced 6 more boards, just like one every other year. It's a pretty simple operation. They're just boards, they're butted up. Any decent carpenter can do it. I do them myself. But as of right now, I don't think there's any that need replaced. They're in good shape right now. Okay, let's get out of here. Oh, let's hear the motors run. Let's hear the motors run while we're in here. Now they're cold. They hadn't been started in a month. Let's start them up. Turn on the key. Press the start button. So there are no heaters on a Ford Lehman. The engines just start. They're incredible. And I'll start the generator. The generator does have a heater. It's more of a modern engine. So let's start the generator. So you can see that mechanically the boat is in top-notch shape. Top-notch. It's ready to go. It's not a project boat. Okay, we're outside. Up front we have a Maxwell electric windlass that I installed, and there's a YouTube video about the installation of this. There's the typical beautiful Grand Banks varnish work. The boat's really dirty right now. The radar, which I never ever used. Bimini top I have replaced. The decks I have recaulked, so they shouldn't need any touching. These original teak decks. This is the fuel tank for the main fuel. This is the fuel of the generator tank that's not hooked up. The boat comes with a handmade dinghy that I made. It's redwood, and it basically is the dock box. It has bumpers. It is full of bumpers and dock lines and all kind of other stuff. But it's a beautiful little boat. We throw it in the water about once a year and let the grandkids play in it. It's a great little boat and gets more compliments than the big boat. The kayaks don't go. Up top where we live is the basic engine controls. The upholstery was new. It's just starting to show some wear on these back cushions. Like I said, I've replaced the top. Whole new stainless steel frame. Made these little tables for little snack tables. The leg folds down, but I can't do it with one hand. They're a good addition for drinks and chips and sandwiches and stuff. I don't have a whole lot of electronics on the boat. I have one little weenie GPS that basically isn't much better than my phone. This is the little electric thing. We have two VHF radios, both of them will work. One up, one down. Two depth finders, they both work. One up, one down. This is the storage, and it's big and it's full of junk, but it is big enough that you can get in there. Let me open these doors. You can get in there and lay down and work on the back of all these gauges, electronics, or whatever. It's big and roomy. Let's go to the back. We haven't looked in the Lazarette yet. You'll notice when you walk around the Grand Banks, there's no creaking and groaning. There's no popping. This thing is built like a ship. Shore power is 230 amp circuits. One is heating, air conditioning, and hot water heater. The things that the inverter is not powerful enough to run, and the other one is all the odds and ends that the inverter does power. This is a vent I added behind the refrigerator to get some of that hot air out of the cabinet. It's helped a lot. So this is the Lazarette. 3 doors. Okay, so what you have is 2, I believe they're 85-gallon water tanks. That's for fresh water. The rudder and stuff is back here. It comes with 4 shore power cables when you're away from home port. I have 2 200-foot dock lines because we like to anchor out, and it allows us to tie to a tree so we don't float around. And all these shelves just come out. They're all sitting there, so once a year or so I take everything out and hose this thing out and get it clean. These hatch covers are solid as they can be. It's the way Grand Banks made things. And there's a big swim step that I made. It's bigger than the original. And it is, it's got a crack in it where we got involved with a piling, but other than that, it's in good shape. It's not rotten. It just has a little bit of damage. Okay, folks. So I washed the boat, and I just wanted to be fair to myself because it was pretty grimy when I took the last video. But it cleans up well. It's a beautiful boat. Somebody will be lucky to own it and keep it for 10 or 15 years like I did. The decks do not leak a drop. It has a boom and a mast. I have to fold them down because they hit the ceiling. But when they're standing, they look good. There's a boom for getting crippled people out of the water. And the VHF antenna ends up really high, so you get really long range radio. There's a barbecue pit right there, and it's on that little arm. And that little arm fastens to this stanchion, so the barbecue pit hangs over the water, and you can turn around and have a little bit of work area here. And we made some pretty good meals on that little barbecue pit.